Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. What you're looking at here is the production realization of a model originally prototyped by Omega to probe the deepest depths of the ocean. So this model right here is the extraordinary Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Ultra Deep, which was launched in its definitive production form in 2022. The watch is made of Omega steel, which for practical purposes is very similar to Zinn's U-boat steel and Rolex's 904L. It is a steel that polishes up nicely, but its primary trait is that it is extremely resistant to corrosion. So after exposure to salt, water, or sweat, you don't need to clean it because it will not corrode under those circumstances. It is a big watch, but it has a big job to do. 6,000 meter water resistance, you better believe it. And to achieve that, Omega has a watch 45.5 millimeters in diameter, 18.2 millimeters thick. You could see that it is an abundant 52 millimeters from lug to lug. If we had the solid end links of the bracelet, it's now 55.4 lug to lug with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. A little note, this is the steel version. There is a titanium model, but it features loop lugs, so you cannot fit any standard bracelet or strap to it. You need to go full custom if you're going with a strap, or you need to get Omega's OEM solution. The bracelet versions of this watch in steel allow you to use any standard 22 millimeter strap, so keep that in mind when you're making your choice. The watch is large, and it's sort of purposefully large because of its hermeticity, which includes immunity to helium intrusion. And because it needs to be large as a readable instrument, it doesn't feel as goofy as, for example, the old Hublot Oceanographic. This actually feels like something designed for heavy-duty use. Now, of course, it'll probably just be a desk diver, but it's nice to know that the potential is there. It doesn't even look outlandish on my 16-centimeter circumference wrist. Big, yes, but no more than a Rolex Deep Sea. I would say if your wrist is my size or larger, you can wear this. If you want to be super careful with proportion and aesthetics, then 17 centimeters circumference enough. Remember, my wrist is 16, but I would say if you want to be super safe, 17 centimeters circumference and up. Of course, it's not going to fit underneath a dress cuff. It's really big and thick, but it's not for that. You'll appreciate that it has a massive bracelet to match. There's a conforming end link, a little bit of a taper down towards the clasp. You could see a thoughtfully applied bevel, continues the bevel of the case flank, and we do have a few removable links here fixed by screws, including an intermediate sized link so you can fine-tune the fit. If you don't find what you like, well, first of all, there is an incremental adjustment in there. You have about, I would say, 9.6 to 11 millimeters of incremental adjustment. You see how I can fine tune here? If I'm just adjusting the fit, I have quite a bit of flexibility. And then there is a all or nothing fold out dive extension. So quite a bit of total extensible length, whether I just want to fine tune the fit or pull it out all the way to use over a dive suit. I actually have a choice there, and it will work well either way. Taking a look at the clasp, it's substantial. You can see externally it's faceted with the Omega logo, but no brand name. Twin trigger release, thick gauge steel. You do have to press both triggers to pop this open. It's a safeguard against accidental deployment, and it does inspire confidence. Taking a look at the case flank, it's very familiar, but what we don't have is a helium escape valve of any kind. A little bit like the original Seamaster 600 Ploprof back in the 70s, this case is advertised as being for saturation diving, which normally causes helium intrusion, but so stout is this case that helium cannot intrude, so it does not need to exit. That's the premise here. I believe it's possible. Seiko has been doing it for years, and Omega has at least the capabilities of Seiko. Lyre-style lugs, you've heard the term many times, inward bevels and outward bevels, so a bevel on each side of the lug. The case bevel extends lug to lug with polish. We have a little bit of a squared-off crown guard and a crown that is media blasted and polished. You better believe it's a screw-down crown here on a watch this tightly sealed against the elements, and it has a very finely threaded stem tube. The bezel is 120 click. It has a very sharp knurling, so if you've ever been frustrated by the shallow scalloped knurling of the Diver 300 meter, this is the Seamaster for you. It's easy to get a purchase, whether your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved, you're always going to get a grip. There's a really nice 120 click action It sounds good. It feels good. We'll do a loom shot here so you know exactly what you're getting. By the way, the bezel is ceramic. So this ceramic bezel will shake off scuffs and scratches. Taking a look in the dark, you can see that not only are all three hands luminescent, but the minute hand and the bezel pearl are green. So not only do you realize your watch is running in the dark, which is important from a safety standpoint while diving, but you can quickly judge the timing references. The bezel pearl and the minute hand separate from everything else on the dial. We have here a massive sapphire crystal, and you can see that it's dramatically boxed and cambered. It actually rises above the dial. There is no date, which gives us a wonderfully balanced dial with quarter Arabic numerals in blue and applied individual indices. You can see this is actually a lacquered dial. A couple of different dials issued with this Ultra Deep series. Some of them are made of different materials than this, but the white is always white lacquer, which is why it is glassy smooth. We have these vintage-inspired broad arrow style hour and minute hands. And because this is one of the twin barrel Omega coaxials, you've actually got two setting modes. One is the hacking or stop seconds function, and then there's an intermediate position that allows you to move the hour hand independently. And notice the watch is still keeping time here. So as I'm traveling, I can do so without disrupting my preset hours and minutes, and it's very handy to have that capability. Probably in order to avoid a 20 millimeter overall thickness, Omega had to make one concession, and that concession is a solid case back. You see the seahorse, the longtime symbol of the Seamaster family, and then we've got a lot of advertising for saturation diving, professional, diver's watch, 6,000 meters, coaxial, master chronometer. It is all of those things. So let's talk about what's in there. It's a automatic Omega caliber that has twin barrels, a 60-hour power reserve. It goes by reference number 8912. Basically, it's an 8900 without the date, and a 60-hour reserve courtesy of twin barrels. The twin barrels giving you a nice flat torque curve from the beginning of the wind when the watch is fully energized to the time it's almost about to stop. So in the absence of a complication like a remontoire or a fusee, a twin barrel design is really handy in that regard. We also have a beat rate of 25,200 vibrations per hour, which is specific to swatch group movements that have silicon anti-magnetic hairsprings. Along those lines, it's not just the hairspring that's resistant to magnetism. The whole watch is tested to over 15,000 Gauss, which is in excess of 1.5 Tesla, which is a spectacular amount of magnetism, effectively rendering this watch amagnetic. Master chronometer, well, yes, it says so on the case back. Another virtue of this watch is that there's not too much information on the dial. The METAS, or Master Chronometer Standard, was created in conjunction with the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology, and it's an open standard. It's not some sort of Omega in-house thing like the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master 1000 Hours. Any company that meets the standard of the Master Chronometer test can METAS certify its watch and place Master Chronometer on its timepiece, and in fact, Tudor today is doing so. So the test includes a 6-position chronometry test of the fully assembled watch, not 5 positions in a bare movement like you'll get on the COSC. It also includes anti-magnetism, water resistance, winding efficiency, durability, advertised power reserve, making sure all of these marks are met before the watch gets the certification. We do have the George Daniels coaxial here in its tri-level form, a double impulse system that is partially direct impulse, and then on the other impulse it is indirect. But the important thing is that both impulses are tangential friction, not the sliding friction you get on a Swiss lever. If you're familiar with run to banking, for example, you know exactly what I mean. So this tangential friction reduces maintenance requirements, improves chronometry, and extends power reserve to help make that 60-hour mark. It's probably still the most exotic escapement you can buy for under $50,000. And in the interests of durability, we have a full dual anchored balance bridge and a free sprung balance. So it's a very tough movement in every regard. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.